Ndị be anyị ndewonu. Ọ bụ Ada Igbo na-ekwu na Igbo Media. N'Igbo Media, anyị na-ewetara unu ọtụtụ ozi gbasara ihe na-emegasị na Biafra Land, n'ala Igbo na mba ndị ọzọ. N'ụbọchị nke taata, o nwere ihe bịara n'iru akwụkwọ anyị nke anyị ga-agụpụtara unu n'ụbọchị taa. Anyị gụpụtachaa ya, unu egee ya ka ọha n'uju. Ị ga-esie ya, ị drọpụọla your comment, like kwa this our video and gbasakwa ya ka o ruo ụmụnna anyị n'ebe dị iche iche arụ. Breaking news: Igbos are not part of Nigeria again. Nigerian senator cries out. Unbelievable. Ya bụ ozi ka anyị ji bịa tata na Igbo Media. Ị ga-esie ya bụ ozi, gbaa mbọ gwa anyị iche ma mekwa ka ozi alụta ụmụnna anyị n'ebe dị iche iche aka. Ngwa gere ya ka ọha n'uju.
I'm going to ask you about Nnamdi Kanu, and I know that you have a very strong position about the situation. He's been sentenced, he's in jail behind bars right now. Do you see any political, any saving or any way out from where he is right now?
Well, there are two things that are happening at the same time. I think there's a legal one, which we're not going to talk about, and there's a political one. Even the governor of my state, who is also his governor, has said that he has also initiated. And those of us too who are in the political scene, we're also doing our best politically to see that we can get in. But there's something we must always state about Nnamdi Kanu's case. Granted, they found him guilty in a court, competent jurisdiction. But the question is, why in Nigeria do we have two separate ways of dealing with people accused of the same thing? See, part of this agitation, every time they say, oh, Igbos, they're always complaining, people in Nigeria. No, it is because they see unequal treatment. You see government people talking with the real terrorists who are killing people. But then, it's Nnamdi Kanu, put him in jail, let him not. It is this unequal treatment that we are telling the government. You swore an oath to treat every citizen equally.
Tell me what Senator Eninia Baribe had said one day in this video that made people to start going after him. No, tell me what he has said one day. And that is why I tell you that Nigeria cannot move forward. You know why? Because we have so many hypocrites in Nigeria. We have so many people who do not live by facts or believe what is happening. Instead, they speak, they act according to what they will gain or the tribe they come from. Yes, they talk, they speak according to probably what they have gained or what they will gain afterward. They do not believe in fact. It is no longer news. It is not a surprising thing. It is not something new, even to unborn babies, that the Igbos are being marginalized in Nigeria. Where do we start? From judgment, from justice, from getting justice. An Hausa man, a Yoruba man, or even a Fulani man, a non-state actor, will commit a crime in Nigeria. He might be pardoned, but you as an Igbo person go and commit that same crime and know whether you'll be pardoned or you'll get justice. Go and do it. So you see, things are not the same. It seems that there is a different law for the Igbos and a different law for the other parts of Nigeria. It is very clear. Now, Senator Eninia Baribe said it plump and plain that the Igbos are being marginalized. But you know what? There's a video I saw on the internet space in the National Assembly. Somebody, a man from the north, is saying that Senator Eninia Baribe is supposed to be behind bars now for speaking in favor of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, somebody said it. In fact, let me show you the video. I see somebody as a Baribe who is the leader in the Senate championing that yes, there are many flaws. He bailed Nnamdi. When the NSAS, we knew what happened. He was the one, Kanu was the one who was acting with the help of Tinubu, destroyed this, destroyed that in this nation. But we have allowed him. You know what happened to Indule? Indule for bailing Mada was taken to prison for not producing. But we allowed this man to go as a position person, and that ordinarily for failing to produce cranium empty, you should be in prison. Did you hear that? Meanwhile, we have people like Sheikh Gumi and the rest of them. Sheikh Gumi has said that he is the father of banditry. He is the speaker or the negotiator or the mouthpiece of terrorism or terrorists in Nigeria. Yes, Sheikh Gumi is there patrolling, being guarded by the Nigerian police. Sheikh Gumi's bodyguard, most of them are Nigerian police. Meanwhile, somebody, a senator that stood up to speak about his brother that is getting injustice in the country, somebody opened his mouth and said that he should be behind bars. You see? So tell me, how you clearly define this, if not being marginalized? Tell me how. Well, I want to stop here, but I want to plead with you to please do well to listen to Senator Enini Abaribe. This was an interview he granted just like 48 hours ago, and he said a lot of things. Please, I beg you to listen to him. Then you do well to drop your comment in the comment section. My question in this video is this: you watching this, do you think that the Igbos are being marginalized, or do you think that they are just making mouth? Because a lot of things has been happening. Maybe in my next video I'm going to bring for you videos of people that come out to condemn or to speak against Enini Abaribe. But you watching this, what do you make of it? Do well to drop your comment in the comment section, but please I beg you to listen to Enini Abaribe when he speaks.
President Bola Tinubu was a man alone at a particular time in this country, in the Southwest, and he fought, he stayed, and he reorganized, and eventually got the Southwest, got all the other places, and now today he's president. He never followed orders to go to the other party. So he himself, being the person who stood firm against the rampaging effects of the PDP at that time, that he is the person orchestrating a one-party system today, is very troubling. Are we operating a one-party system, or we look like a one-party state? Well, it looks like people want us to move there. But as far as I'm concerned, though, I'm in the opposition, I'm part of the coalition, and there will not be a one-party state so long as we are here. And we are here. And we are all mobilizing, and we are going to face the APC head on. Is there really opposition in this country at the moment? Well, let me just say this. There is opposition, just that is weak. All that the opposition needs to do today is to do exactly what President Tinubu did. Come together with others, bury your differences, work harmoniously, have a unity of purpose. And what is that unity of purpose? Liberate Nigerians from this constricting APC government. That is what they need to do. It's unfortunate that we got to this point, but it's salvageable. But you are a minority of the minority in the National Assembly. Unlike before. No, there is minority. Even in the minority, on the minority aisle, you are a minority there. Unlike before that you were the face of minority opposition. At the time I was minority leader. Yes, you could call me the face of the opposition. But today, I am a member of the coalition. I was there when it was formed. I was there and I'm part of helping to get everything together. So you're a member of the ADC. I'm a member of the coalition, of which we are using the ADC as our. So you're all working together for Atiku? We will work together. No, we're not working for Atiku because the opposition, the ADC, have not brought out their guidelines for elections, their everything. Everybody is going to come out and fight for the ticket. But you're not a member of ADC in the National Assembly. No, not yet.
You have a political party.
Not yet. I have a political party different. I'm a member of the coalition. Understand me very well.
And you know the nomenclature is also very important in parliamentary politics.
Yeah.
Because you need to have a stand at political. You cannot be an independent candidate or a partyless member in the parliament. You've got to have a and you must represent.
In a very short while, everything once we have finished all the consultations we are doing now and all that, because you're not doing anything alone. You have followers, you have people, you have those that you have to talk with, you have those that you may have to convince, you have those that want us, now let's move today, and all that. So, you're going to move at the appropriate time, and all of us in the National Assembly, we have all resolved what to do.
So there is a consensus amongst the opposition voices.
Yes, there is, that we are going to be in one place, because we know that all that the APC government is doing is to keep everybody in their little silos so that they can go
even in the consensus and in the coming together of the opposition voices. Do you still think, with the manner in which APC has profiled and shaped itself and molded itself under the Bola Tinubu government, do you think that the potency of the opposition can really withstand the Tinubu force and the APC strength come 2027? Because it does look like what you're saying is a tsunami in terms of the political heavyweight movement.
It is coming. As an Igbo, there's an Igbo word, it says Mboru. When the time comes, everybody will see it. When the time comes. Mboru. As of today, well, people can make whatever noise they feel they are making. People can shout that, oh, we are the behemoth. But I tell you, this giant has feet of clay.
Yes. What is
the giant of APC? He has feet of clay.
So by the election,
he has legs. He has
the election. You are going to target the clay feet, even with the bronze and the silver body.
If you get the feet, everything collapses. That's what will happen.
Like because they say Tinubu has never lost an election.
Is that so?
That is what, historically speaking.
I do not think so. Everybody loses election.
Could 2027
everybody
for Tinubu?
Yes, and you will see
that Tinubu can lose 2027.
He will lose 2027.
What gives you that confidence?
Because I know what Nigerians are feeling outside. Tinubu never won the election of 2023, and everybody knows it. Those who want to get, we said fine, he has been declared winner, no problem. We acknowledge him as president, no problem. But we're going to meet him in the field, and I will see how he's going to cobble together that thing that will make him win again. It won't work, because this time everybody will be ready. It will no longer be an announcement at 3 a.m. before people will wake up in the morning. They will tell you, oh yeah, they will not work anymore. This time people are ready, and we are ready, and the masses outside are even more ready. If you do an election today, you know what it's going to cost. How would you deal with this?
That is the problem. APC controls a quarter of the states in this country. What is left for the for parties other than the APC is less than a third of the states of the federation. And you know, I mean, you are so experienced politically speaking, and you know that structure means election a lot of the times.
I come from Aba, and I was discussing this particular thing of saying, oh, APC had this government, that government, and people were a little worried. And I asked one of them a question. In fact, that question was asked by Governor Peter Obi. He asked someone, so this is Abaribe here, will he go to Area market and tell them to vote for Tinubu, he can't try it. Most of all these people who are telling you that they are following President Tinubu cannot go to their homes and say it. They can't. Why? Because they're going to be stoned when they go to say such a thing. People are suffering. The suffering is monumental. We've never had this before. And not just the suffering, the whole economy is collapsed. The security is, you have not solved it. And where would you now get that vote from?
Senator,
Yes.
in all of this, there are those who will say the reasons why people are suffering. This government, they've defended it. And they said, look, this government is making tough decisions. And they said it, that there will be tough decisions because we've graduated from years of structural decay. And the decadence is what this government under Bola Tinubu wants to correct. And the Nigerians are wiser to see that yes, the pain is there, but the gains are nearing, and perhaps we are gradually moving to the gain period. Do you think that kind of narrative also, and the realities on the ground, will be a game changer?
So, I ask a very simple question. What is a difficult decision? That hard decision that you're making, that you impose on a citizen who is already on the ground, you don't impose it on yourself. When you're a leader, what you do is that you show by example.
But the president has, in terms of security, for example, he has ordered
please,
protection.
What was removed? From who? Professor Wole Soyinka simply made a statement the other day. Have you heard anything about anybody removing anything from the son of the president? Please, we should always be realistic when we're saying things and also talk about what is real. The head of FIRS, have you seen his convoy? Close to 40 vehicles. Head of an agency of government. Not to talk about, we don't talk about the president's own, you don't talk about the governor's own, you don't talk about the minister. What exactly are you imposing on people you're not imposing on yourself? I'm only saying, leadership demands that thing that you want people to take, that you have to impose it on yourself. You have to cut the cost of governance. You have the cost of all this flamboyance everywhere. When you do that, then the people will believe in you. When you don't do it, how do you expect the people to believe that you actually mean what you are telling the public? Oh, you must do that. Oh, you must do that. You ask the public to, cut their coat according to their cloth. That's what you tell them. Then you go and sew a very large and big abada.
Is it fair to infer that this president is insincere with his policies and that he is not showing example, or is not leading by example? Is it fair to infer?
When you say, is it fair, you're asking me. The evidence is there in the public.
What evidence?
The evidence of how would you now put it? I'm trying to find a word that the cyberitic living among people in and around the president, around all the people in government, and so forth. You can't tell me to suffer while I see you living in opulence. People will never believe you. So at the moment, it's simply a question of honesty and integrity in government. There is none.
But some of the policy of this government is brought before the National Assembly, which some of you said yea to.
Budget-wise, you said yay to some of those financial plans they brought to you. So if you come now and criticize the same government that you have said yay to a lot of the policies that got approval from you, the ambassadorial nomination, yay from you. Budget proposal, yay. 2024, 2025, they said they will roll it over to 2027. Some of you said yay to it. Why do you have the moral ground?
Daalụ nne maka isonyere anyị n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị tata na Igbo Media. Ọ bụ na ihe anyị na-ewetara gị dị gị mma, gbaa mbọ gbasaa ozi a ma mekwa ka ozi a rute ụmụnna anyị n'ebe dị iche iche aka. Ngwa ka ọ dị.